Welcome to this Crash Station podcast where we talk about anime life and everything in between. I'm Matt.
I'm Robert.
I'm Alonzo.
And we back at it again with episode 10. Let's go. I don't know how we got this far, but I'm glad we got this far.
It's definitely amazing.
Well, it is a little amazing. You know?
Milestone.
Milestone episode, you know? We'll look back on this, 5 to 10 years and really think, why did we do that?
Right?
We probably shouldn't have recorded some of that stuff, but it's fine. It's out there for the world, for the viewers, for the people to feel connected, trying to get people to feel loved, feel wanted, feel emotions, man, feel things, which I've been feeling today.
Man.
In the least weird way possible.
I went to visit some family today, and it was pretty good. But during the time when I was there, politics got mentioned, and it turned into quite the bit conversation where I was just like, like, I don't want to be part of this. I am scared that either I'm gonna say something offensive and ruin this relationship, right? It's just like, or two, they're gonna say something offensive and completely ruin this relationship. Then I gotta cut people out of my life, and God, who does that these day and age? I don't know. It was good overall though, and politics is hard. That's why we try to avoid talking about politics on this podcast, right? It's like it's hard to avoid, but it's also, everyone has an opinion.
Fuck Ron DeSantis. There you go.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, but that was my day.
I'm sorry for anyone that likes that person. I don't.
Yeah.
Everyone have their own opinions. How about you, Alonzo? Anything?
Same old, not doing a thing. It hasn't rained, so my grass hasn't grown. Y'all were here last week, so I don't have to clean that much. So I'm just sitting here watching anime, watching YouTube videos, and living life to the least I can.
Okay.
You watch anything new?
Nope. Just watching all these seasonal stuff. Watched an episode of Hell's Paradise today, and
nice.
What else I watched? Konosuba. Well, that's about it.
Nice. I'm enjoying both of those too, by the way. They're great.
I'm not watching Explosion Girl for a full season. I'm just not doing it. Just not watching just her. Explosion. No. But yeah, I was not here last weekend, so I had a lot of stuff to do. So I'm doing a lot of errands, a lot of cleaning, stuff like that. I did watch one anime. What's it called? Mashijo, Mashijo, Magic and Muscle.
Is that good?
It is One Punch Man, except for in a magical world. It's interesting though. I mean, it's entertainment. It's not like the most depth of character or story. It is just something to watch that is somewhat entertaining. I want something light with some action, and it gave me that. I was gonna start Vinland Saga, but I was like, that feels heavy to start. Right. So it's like let me start that a little later. But yeah, doing a lot of adulting, cleaning, groceries, prepping food, all this stuff, and sometimes adulting is hard. That's why we're talking about it here today, because being an adult, has its pros and cons, but it's not really always what they had advertised it to be, But I don't want to be the one to harp on this too much, because I don't want to go either way with it, because it has, like I said, it has pros and cons, everyone wanted to grow up when they were younger. No one wants to stay like 10, you know. And even when you're like 14, you want to be 16. When you're 16, you want to be 21, you know. You always typically, especially when you're younger, you want to get older. So here we are. And now, how do we feel about it? That fluctuates daily, hourly, minutely, secondsly, like very frequently. So, how y'all feel about adulthood?
I mean, generally, I would say, like, I mean, it's been beneficial to me, you know? Like, I was generally like a, like a, like an individual guy, right? Like, I wasn't like big on groups and stuff, and I wasn't like, like, it was good for me to veer out to adulthood so that it would keep me away from the family aspect of things, where then I feel like I'm, in some degree doing well, right? So I'm like, that part, it's like, you know adulthood, I appreciate. But then there's every aspect of real life that hits your ass. And that shit is awful. It's just like, hey, did you not know that, like, everything costs money? Everything. It's like, okay. Do I just to live? Wait, that doesn't make any sense. Like water, to bring water to my house cost me money. But I have to drink water, right? I need water to survive, right? It's like, okay.
H2O.
It's like, that seems weird. What about you, Alonzo? General thoughts on adulthood?
General thoughts on adulthood. For me, similar to you, freedom aspect, not having to deal with a lot of people um, that I had to deal with growing up. That's a great thing. I am an antisocial person. Um, Being around people is not good for me. So being alone, being that having that freedom to do whatever I want, when I want, however I want, is fun. But like you said, all the other aspects that come with it, like the money, the bills, the working to death, metabolism slowing down, life being boring, all that good stuff, that's what comes with it. You gotta accept it. There's no escaping it. Unless you're super rich, which I am not.
You're getting there.
Oh, heck no.
Right.
Quicker than me. I don't know. Well, quicker than the rest of us. But anyway, yeah. Yeah, I think generally it is maybe not quite what people advertise it to be. Not what we probably expected it to be. But in general, definitely has its pros. And I think that for the most part, again, like I said, we wanted to grow up when we were younger. It's inevitable to grow up, obviously. I think it just would have been nice to get more warning about some of these things instead of just glorifying it the whole time. I know we're kids. I know people typically want to give kids like the brightest outlook on things possible a lot of times, but a hint of realism, especially when we're like in our teenage years, would have been nice. Like, just give me a heads up. Give me a tax class in high school,
Right.
something so that I'm like, okay, when I get to be an adult, I'm not just learning all this on the fly. I'm not just like, okay, now all of a sudden I gotta do taxes and calculate budgets and do all this other stuff. Like, and then it's like, you know, this would have been nice to know, retroactively thinking. And it's like, but you could have just told me, that have been
I,
like, okay.
that's a good point. And I think this is a bigger deal, right? That, like, there is a bunch of parents that think because they are at a place and doing well, and they did not know these things, that then they don't teach them these things because they're like,
Right.
hey, no, I didn't know it, and I got where I am. That's the same thing with, like, money too, right? It's just like, hey, I got where I got, you know, started from nothing, and now I'm here. Like, and so I'm not gonna give you anything because why would I? Right? There's some parents that think like that. There's some parents that do that, and like, I'm not saying, I'm not like, you know, spoon feed your children, but if there's important life lessons, why aren't they given? Like that makes no sense. That's the whole point of living is to pass knowledge, right? Like, and you're not gonna do that. Like, that's crazy to me. Like, but I think on the other side of things, there's some parents, and especially like coming from like low income, black family, like we didn't know a lot. Like I would say like my family did not know a lot, and to now I'm going into now I'm in the real world, and I'm like, oh, I if I would have thought of this, if I would have known this, I would have done this probably a particular way, right? Same with like credit, right? It's like you would have gone with credit differently, knowing what it is and how it impacts you later in life. And I'm like,
Right.
yeah, I mean, or bank accounts in general,
Right.
right? It's like I did not have a bank account until I got into college. Yeah, like first semester of college, and I'm like, that's fucking wild. Like, come on, man. I'm like, what? But Lonzo, you felt the same thing, like the not being told. You felt blind.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I came from a single parent household. My mom, God bless her, did the best she could, but
Mm.
there was a lot of stuff we didn't know. Like I was unfamiliar with taxes, like you. I didn't get my first bank account till I was in college. Um, now it's when I started an internship, I had to get direct deposit, so I had to get a bank
Same.
account. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, just not knowing anything, not knowing about taxes, how to do those, voting, how that process works. There's a whole lot of different skills, set of skills you need to know as an adult that just was not passed down to me. Um, Certainly, I also didn't have the best relationship with my mom, so that probably factored into it as well. But um, either way, that knowledge wasn't there, it wasn't passed down um, from any part of my family. Like I have two aunts, I have a grandmother. None of them never ever passed anything down to me, so it was just learn on the fly, figure it out. Just go as you will and figure it out on your own, I guess.
Right. Like, thank God for like certain technologies because like for me, for example, I had a terrible sense of direction. No one ever taught me how to like read a map or any of those sorts of things. Well, thank God that that didn't become a thing because if it was, I'd been in trouble. I've lived in the same place now for about 2 years. I still use GPS majority of places I go. Like I struggle. And like even stuff like teaching me like simple recipes like when I all of a sudden was like you know away from home. I'm like in another state. I'm like, oh shoot, I realized I know how to cook nothing. I never had to think about that, but I was like, I don't know how to make anything. And again, thank God for the internet. And call your mom, they'll tell you stuff and they kind of walk you through it a little bit, or stuff like that. They can, at least for me, that she did. But it's like, still though, it's like all this stuff was like, it would have been good to know before, these little things that would have helped out a lot before. Like, it's all these little things. I feel like, I don't know. And I don't think I don't think it's purposeful. I think it's like sometimes they got wrapped up in adulting being hard. So they're like, okay, I'm just trying to make sure this kid isn't crazy. Let me just make sure this kid ain't crazy and has a shot to be a little better than me or has a shot to have a decent future. And if I did that, I already did enough. And we probably underestimate that part of it too. Like they're probably just like trying to get by how we're feeling like now, and then they had to figure it all out. And then there's by the time they thought about maybe I should take some of this stuff, we're gone. We're out the house. Like, oh well, too late. They're gone.
That's a good point.
So it's like I do get that, but again, I don't know. I feel like I had to just take more direct ownership over like learning some of this stuff. Even as a kid, I was curious about some of the stuff, but it was like, they're busy, you don't want to mess with them, blah blah, all that sort of stuff. So it's like whatever. But I don't know, like yeah, I definitely would have been good, but I do see like especially like nowadays, and it's a different culture now too. Like our culture is much different than our parents' culture. Like we're very much in a culture where we do have a lot of these resources available to us that they don't have. And a lot of this for them was learning on the fly. And I think that they felt like that maybe helped them build character, build strength, all these sorts of things, their own opinions and morals. And maybe they wanted that for us, in an indirect way, maybe not directly, but like maybe they, subconsciously kind of wanted that for us to make our own sort of paths, opinions, decisions, and like let us make our own mistakes too, so we can learn from them, hopefully. And then just kind of see how we pan out, and obviously hopefully set us up, at least somewhat for success, before that, but yeah, I don't, I don't want to bash, feel like I'm bashing, Harris. I'm sure that, again, like Alonso said, like they tried their best, but like I do think like adulting surely got to them too, so, but yeah, and I think they probably have parts of adulthood that they, again, like us, really enjoyed, and parts they really didn't. I don't know. Which one do y'all want to start with? You want to start with what we really like or really don't like about adulthood?
Man, I don't know. Maybe we can end on a good note.
And on a good note, you got the bad news first. You're one of those people.
Right,
Bad news
right,
first, people. Get it out the way. Rip the bandage off,
right.
and then give me a kiss my boo. All right. Well, since you brought it up, you start. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, let's let me work on this a little bit with you guys, okay? So like one of the things I've been thinking about recently is that is about choices, right? So I we've been talking a little bit, Matt and I, and about active and passive decisions, right? We're saying that like there's so many times where you want to basically make a decision. Hey, here's a choice, and I'm going to make this choice, and then eventually you get overwhelmed with so many choices that eventually you want to do something that is just no effort into this choice, right? I am doing the thing that is there, right? And the part that I don't like about adulthood is that the illusion that true freedom exists, right? Like true like every choice you have, you can make. And that this kind of feels up with, bills, like, hey, let's say I don't want to pay for a bill. Like, which one can I get rid of? Internet? Like, and not exist in the world? Okay, probably not that one, right? All right, power. I mean, I need that for the internet thing. Water, like I said, for survival. You know what I mean? Like all these things. It's like I need a car to get to work. I'm like maybe I don't, right? But it's like
those calves, right?
It's like
get those calves.
It's all these things. It's all these things that end up being like gives you this illusion that, hey, these are all choices. You decide whether you do these things or not. And then it gets to a point where it's just like, well, damn. I can't, anything that I want to like think about, it's automatically like, nah, but you got to do that thing. Like, well, can I not go get groceries today? I mean, yeah, but you're going to do it eventually. It's like, can I not do my laundry today? It's like, yeah, but you got to do it eventually. It's like, it's like all these, that's what I hate about adulthood. Because in childhood, right, those things were choices, right? It's like, did I need to pay, for internet? You know what I mean? Like, especially in our day and age, right? We're in our young age.
Right. It was basically
like, well, it's like, look, I can get internet or I could just chill. Like, who cares, right? It's like, like that kind of thing does not exist anymore. It's like everything that you do is it's almost, it's not everything, but like so many things are forced upon you. You have to do these things to exist in this world, in this society at this time. And I hate that shit, dude. With a passion. I hate being in this. We've also talked about, I mean, this is only tangentially related, but let me go to my salesman theory right now. I think, right, so there was a guy that was recently, because I live in a house, there will be people that come by and they will tell you that you need to buy something from them, right? Door to door salesman, right? Maybe it's solar panels, maybe it's a security system, maybe it's something, right? And they will sell it to you in a way that's like, you are stupid for not buying this thing. Like this is the only choice, and if you don't make this choice, you fail in this society. And I think that this is the mindset you have to be in when you're part of this society. You have to sell yourself. Sell yourself. Like me as a person, present in this way that is, you have to buy me, because there's no better version than, you know what I mean? Like, to get my job, I had to go through this like tit for tat, like, hey, I'm the best engineer, I'm ready for your spot, I'm the perfect person for your spot. You know what I mean? Like, and that's fucking dumb, right? Like, I don't know, this is I don't like being forced to be this person, right? Another freedom that is fake. It's like, I'm okay. I'm done with my rant, but like, I do not like fake choices. Okay, do not like fake choices. Do not pretend like I can do this thing. Can I do this? Like, can I be whatever I like? Look, when we were young, we're like, discover yourself. Be this, be this free you. You want to figure out if you want to be goth. Like, figure that out. Right, and then you get to adulthood, and you're like, no, like, you can't be a goth engineer, okay? You can't. Like, you can't be, you know what I mean? Like, that thing is so wild to me. All right, I'm done. But illusion of choice, I hate it. You said, all right. Before we get to what everyone else thinks is their worst thing, Alonzo, tell me that you've felt this.
Most definitely. Like I said earlier, like we had like freedom as an adult. That's not true. Like you said, there's bills to pay. You have to keep the lights on, the water on, the food coming onto the table. God forbid you have kids and then you have to,
Right?
keep up with them. Not have CPS call, not have them die on you. Like, oh my gosh. Oh,
We're
there.
killing kids in this podcast now? Jeez.
Oh Lord, you said it, not I.
I'm not killing any children.
Side tangent. Before this podcast, I asked the family that I visited, I was like, what is the best and worst thing about your life? And the first thing they said was kids. And I was like, is that best or worse? And they said, yes. I'm like, oh my god, yeah, imagine that. I'm like, we 3 people without kids, but like, whoa, dude, like, now that's a whole nother thing. A whole nother take away your freedom after that. It's done.
That is the craziest thing, because the people I work with, most of them are older than me, most of them. So a lot of them have kids, and it's like, it's crazy because they'll ask, "Oh man, you have kids?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm like, no, I don't have any kids." "Oh, lucky you." I'm like, first off, I'm like, luck, we have, birth control contraception for a reason, for one, and then for two, your boy is picky. So it's two reasons for that, not luck. None of them involve luck. Well, I guess part of luck still, 99.9%, I guess, luck. But anyway, but then the other thing they said, one guy, and this guy's like, one of the heads of our job, right? So he makes plenty money, plenty success, plenty respect, all this good stuff. And he's a good guy, he's a cool guy. And so he says, no one that has kids likes it. No one, no one, no one has kids because they like the
Mm,
kids. They don't enjoy having kids. They simply have joy of having them and watching them grow. They don't actually enjoy the process of being a parent. They just have joy and fulfillment of watching them grow, become these people, guiding them through. And I'm like, so you don't like it at all, though? And like every parent in the room agreed. Mind you, all these people are making a lot, a lot more than me. A lot of money, dude. Like a good, very, very comfortable amount of money. And like, I'm like, so it's not even like a financial thing. It's like, oh, the kids are so expensive, right? It's like the toll apparently on these people that these kids take. It's just like crazy to them. And like, again, we talked about this before. We talked a little bit about purpose last episode. And some people find purpose in these kids. And I think some people are legitimately happy to have kids and have joy in being parents. I think they have both, some people, because that they feel like that is that. I know for sure a few people, some women and mostly women, but then some men too, that feel like their children are their purpose. I know that like people have told me that outright, and they feel an immense amount of joy and fulfillment in doing that and fulfilling that role. So, and that's great. It's not me knocking that at all. But it just shocked me that in a room full of like very, very intelligent professionals, very well off people, that they can all agree on the fact that it is not actually enjoyable to have children. And I can definitely say as a mom, I would not enjoy pushing that out. I would not. But to be as like a dad and moms all together in unison to be like, yeah, like it's not something yet you really enjoy. It's just something that you kind of do and you get fulfillment from, and you get in, and you just have joy in doing it. And I'm like, that's crazy. That's crazy that something that life changing to me, life changing and life defining of a thing is not something that gives you actual joy and happiness. Now, again, I'm not saying there's no parents, but this is a full room again of people that are, again, pretty much like-minded, similar-ish kind of people because in the same profession. And it's a profession that kind of medicine is a profession that kind of dominates your personality for a lot of people. So a lot of like-minded, similar people, similar profiles. But that was just crazy to me. That's crazy to me that they could be in agreement about this. And I mean, one or two were still like, I think that's a bit harsh. But like for the vast majority of them, out of like, maybe not that many people, but like 15 to 20, people were agreed. Let's say I was like 17. I was like, I'll go to the number, but 15, 20 people, I'll say like 80% agreed, which is shocking to me. I thought that was crazy.
I think we asked this question before. You want children though, Matt? At some point,
Like I am not totally opposed. Like I'm not totally opposed to children. I love my niece and nephew. I mean, I love my niece and nephew. But like the point, like that was the first time I understood even a shred of being a parent because there was a night there was stuff going on with them, right? And it kept me up. I couldn't sleep. I was like, yo, this is crazy, man. These aren't even my kids. Like, and I feel so like nervous and like worried. And it's like, Lord, if these are my kids, like how would I feel? Like, and like I know, again, I'm in medicine. I know the stuff that's happening is not that big a deal, but it's like it still worries me to that extent that it's keeping me up at night. And it was just like that was crazy to me. And that's also my fear is like, it's more of like I don't think again I would not enjoy it at all. I enjoy spending time with my niece and nephew, and it's definitely really rewarding. Like seeing them grow, seeing them, helping them with stuff, teaching them to tie shoes and all this other stuff. Oh, it's great, it's wonderful. But like, I do feel like it's just scary to me is the main thing because of like how much I would worry because of, especially in the current generation, like we won't, like, we had, the shootings and stuff like that, but it wasn't like this, man. It wasn't like this. Like, it wasn't like, you go to school and like you step on a kid's kick and you might get shot. Your child might get shot. Or like this kid gets made fun of, and he like goes and like shoots up the whole school. Like people got made fun of and like that happens sometimes. But like when we were kids, it was like such a rarity. It was like a national tragedy when that happened. Now it's like almost an everyday, every month, every week thing that there is a shooting at a school. and that is crazy to me. That is scary as freak to me. Like, to have kids out here, and you know, you can't even like be there. You literally can't be there all the time. And in the place that you feel like, at least for me as a kid, it was like majority of the time the safest. Even in my schools were ghetto, and it still didn't really feel that unsafe, you know. And you still have to worry like that much is crazy to me. Like, and I don't know. And like, I feel like that is my main thing, is like, it's worry about just all the way the world is now, and not being able to like fully protect them and like take ownership over that. And yeah, and how that would even make them turn out because of that, again, like social media. I mean, again, we had all this stuff, but like we just didn't internalize it like the kids do now. Like, it'd be like you said, like you was talking about this earlier before the podcast, like the one you asked, if the your like one kid in the family, like, as a 17, what is he going to vote for? He said whoever's popular. Like, that's crazy to me. Like,
Right.
that's kind of how they think. Like, they think in terms of like, and again, we thought about this stuff, but it just didn't take over our being when it was us, right? Like, might not have been popular, but we're not gonna take it on everybody. We just, all right, we ain't popular. It is what it is. I'm a loner. Here are my unpopular friends. We go on about our business, whatever. you know. And it's like, that's just not how it is today. It's like, oh, I'm not popular. Deep, 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 dark depression. Like, and it's like, that's different. That's
Mhm.
very, very different than how we are. And it's like, again, it just, as you can tell, it would just make me a chronic, chronic, chronic worrier about mental health for them, about obviously physical health and well-being. Like, I mean, my parents were bad about letting me go places and do stuff, but like, you know, how things are now, Jesus, they probably wouldn't let me do anything.
Yeah, when I was young, I was like, you know what? I think, my, I was just in general against children. Did not want to interact with any child.
Same.
Like
Same.
babies. I don't know. It just like scared me. Like I was like, like they're so fragile. It's just like, all right. And then my brother had my niece or whatever, you know, and then it was literally like a switch, it's just like, oh, I love this child. It's
Right.
like I really want to just like take care of her, but like, and protect her all the time, right? And and I feel that, and also what you're saying is like would I be opposed to like having a child sometime in the future? Like, I mean, I guess not, but like, is it something I directly want? Hard no. Especially now, like, no, not something I want, especially what you're saying too. It's like, I don't know, like, what do you do when your child becomes the singularity? Like, do you do you
Oh
like, do
God,
you bring it
man.
up
You
to
have a
him like,
basic child. Oh God, man.
you're not great. I don't know how to put this, but you've been molded into trash. You are trash.
Hey son, you kind of suck.
What do you even say? I don't know. What about you, Alonso? You want kids?
So my sister has 5 kids. I got 2 nephews and 3 nieces. They visited one time, and it was like a tornado came through. Those little kids were out of their mind. I wouldn't be opposed to having kids, but it's just like I can't take care of a little human being. Like, I know myself. I know I would mess that up terribly. Um, so if they can magically appear like 6 or 8 years old before me, that'll be great. Because them early years, I wouldn't be able to handle it. Those multiple years, those changing diapers, giving them life lessons, all that jazz. I would not be able to do it. Somebody else is gonna have to do it for me, and then I can come back, slither back into their life, and be like, "Hey, it's Papa. What's up?"
can
But
you write that in the adoption forms, right? It's just like 6 to 8.
It's a loan.
Look
It's a
what.
loan, actually. It's just a loan.
yeah,
I'll get them
exactly.
back. They're just trying to live like an anime dad. I'm gonna leave. You gonna get real strong because of that. I'm gonna come back and we're gonna finish your training.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking ahead of the game for you, son.
So then, Alonzo, what is your worst part of being an adult?
My worst part of being an adult is just that life is more boring, if that makes sense. Life just doesn't seem as fun anymore than when I was a kid. And it's so hard to get any joy out of doing things I once loved doing. And it's like a chore to do things I once loved doing. Watching anime, I used to watch like, I don't know, more than double digit episodes per day. Now it's just a struggle to get through one episode of something I may like in a season during the day. Um, Going outside, doing stuff outside, that seems like a hassle to me now. There's the sun to worry about. There's other people to worry about, cars to worry about. Um, it's it, my thing is just like, why does this happen? Why do people just lose that passion? I don't know if it's a chemical thing. I don't know if it's just a mental thing. Um, like, do I have something wrong with my biology? I don't know what it is. I, and it's just concerning to me. Like, I love these things. Why do I lose this love for something so quickly, so out of left field? Um, and you know, when I was a kid, things were much easier, I guess. So maybe that's part of it. You don't have to worry about other things. Other things aren't on your mind to keep you occupied, like bills, working yourself to death. You can eat whatever you want and not have to worry about the repercussions down the line. So maybe that's just what it is. It's just you're there's less on your mind to work keep you occupied for um, the stuff you love doing. But that's my worst thing. Just life is just more boring, more anticlimactic, I guess. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my god. I'm like, I don't know even what I would equate this to, but like, I have this problem when it comes to productivity. I feel like I'm not being productive when I'm doing the things that aren't directly going to benefit something, right? So like right now, I'm like this feels more productive, so I don't have this overlaying like darkness over me. But like when I'm watching anime, like you're saying, like when I'm trying to enjoy a hobby that's not like directly benefiting me, like it ends up becoming this like guy behind my shoulder just like, hey, but you should be doing work right now. You should be, you should be doing this with your house right now. You should be doing that, like all the time. And I feel like this is what's causing me, at least, to not enjoy all my hobbies. It's just like this guy that's just like, where is the productivity? What are you doing? I hate that shit. I agree.
Yeah. I think, yeah, I definitely don't think there's something, biologically wrong, because that would mean there's biologically something wrong with most adults.
Right.
'Cause, I mean, you'd be like, when I talk about having hobbies, and y'all know I have too many hobbies, that people look at me like, how do you even, how do you even, muster the energy to care about anything else, And my answer is, I don't know. Probably because I didn't have time to do this stuff when I was a kid. My childhood was busier than my adulthood. So maybe that's the difference. I didn't get a lot of free time as a kid. My parents filled my time with like either schoolwork or work, like labor. Like I won't get in a whole bunch of free time. So maybe that's why. But I do feel like majority of people have that feeling, and it's like, and I definitely relate to what you're saying. Well, really, both of you guys are saying, like, you definitely have this feeling of like, dang, I should be doing something productive when I'm doing other things, and that definitely was not there as a kid. Because when you're chilling as a kid, you're chilling, and you chilling so hard, you zone out. You can't hear your mom for a little bit, and she get mad at you.
Boy, get
What
in
you
that
don't
kitchen. Can I
Yo,
teach
wash the dish. You left that spoon in that sink.
a
I left one spoon in the sink. Anyway, but and it's like that just is different now. Like there's very rarely a time as an adult where it's like you have completed the to-do list. Like that's very, very rare, I think, for most people. And I think then there's even when you're done with it, you're like, did I really finish? Did I really finish this? Then you're still questioning it. And I feel like even for me when I graduated from like grad school and I was like and I was like, okay, technically have this time off. I'm like, well, no, not really, because then I gotta find an apartment for the next place I'm moving and then blah 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 and all this other stuff. And it's like you feel like there's always something to do. And even when I took a gap between, undergrad and grad school, I still felt like the whole year I felt weird. I was like, I need to be doing something like every day. I have a year off and I'm working. I was still was working a job, you know. And I was like, I still felt like I need to be doing something with all my time, almost all the time. And it's like it's very, very hard to like just accept and relax as like a full adult, I feel like. And I think, yeah, a lot of that is like both of y'all kind of said, like all this stuff always on our mind, all the stuff that we always have to do. But I think like for me, I'm not gonna tell people what to do, but like, that's where we kind of have to take a step back and like just kind of like find different practices to allow ourselves to be more present in what we're actually doing. And like that's one thing I credit my grad school with is that they taught us about like mindfulness. And that's what I was telling you. Like that's the most you asked me about one time what the most recent book I read was about. And it was basically about like mindfulness and stoicism, and which is kind of like intertwined in basically just like being present in the moment, being appreciative for the moments that you have, and like whatever the moment is, hard or good or bad or whatever it is, like just being fully there, right? And so for me, when I started like kind of practicing that stuff, I started to just being able to just enjoy things. Even if I had like a really busy day and I had like an hour to be like, okay, this dedicated hour to be like watch anime, do whatever else, chill, YouTube, manga, whatever. Like I just enjoyed the freak out that hour. It sucked when it was gone, but I was in it. I was in it. And I think like, but again, that goes back to like, we're not taught these things. We're not really shown these things. And again, part of that is no one showed our parents and the people that are supposed to show us. So we have to go and like hopefully get exposed to it in other ways. And if you don't, then you just don't. Or you go and look for it, but sometimes you don't know what you're looking for. And that's also a difficult thing. So yeah, I think, that is definitely a downside of it. And I don't think anyone's like wrong for doing that. And I don't think, like I said, it sounds easy, like, oh, practice mindfulness and that fixes everything. And it's not that simple, like
just
even
flip
for me
the
to get
switch,
into.
man.
Right.
Just flip the switch.
Right. I wish it was that simple. But even like for me, it took me, and even now, it's still like the same thing. Like today was super busy. And now like I took a moment to like watch stuff, read some stuff, and like I am able to be present. But the second it's over, I'm like, oh God, back flooded with worries again. And it's like, oh no. But I mean, I don't know. Like I think again, for me it's important to put things in perspective in life. And like I don't know, something about being in medicine and seeing life or death situations a lot. It helps to teach you to put things in perspective and to just enjoy your life when you get the chance to. That's why I went last weekend when I was probably it was not the right decision for me to do, but I went and I enjoyed it and I made the most out of it. And whatever happens, happens. But at the end of the day, it's like for me, I always just think like, okay, even now as an adult, I get the freedom to make this one decision of this is the one freedom I do think I get is I can say, what will I regret the least? And I can actually act on that. I couldn't do that as a kid. A lot of those things decisions were made for me. So I will say that for me is like, at least we have that decision. At least I have that decision to be like, okay, maybe I can't make all the decisions I want to. Maybe I don't have all the freedoms I want to, but I can at least say, like, I can at least choose what I will regret the least and do that. So that's what I take to do in general. And that has made me feel overall happier with my decisions, overall less regret, less FOMO, all that stuff. Like, I'm like, if I made the decision, maybe it would have been good, but I know I would have ended up regretting not doing this. So I don't know. I don't, like I said, don't think you're wrong feeling that, but I do think, There's things we do have to actively work on things to get past that feeling, which sucks to have to do that. But there are things we can do. Is all I do want to say about it.
I am
I
on a lot of drugs. That's why I brought up biology and chemicals. So I'm on a lot of medication. But go ahead, Robert.
No. I'm like, yeah, similar to what you said, Matt. That it's like, it's a thought thing, right? Like it doesn't happen every time, and there's times where I have to kind of talk myself into like, hey, no, it's okay. It's the weekend. Like you can relax here. You can kind of thing. Like yeah, I feel that, and yeah, that's also what I wanted to say.
Yeah, but I mean it does kind of go in to my least favorite thing because I mean it do be boring as an adult. I do agree. It is definitely like I said, not as advertised. Um, but you know, I think part of that is because of the way the social structure is as an adult. You know, and that's my least favorite thing about it is the social structure of adulthood. You know, as a kid, the social structure is set. You go to a school setting typically or some sort of like larger group setting with children, even if you're doing like sports or doing like, clubs or whatever else. You're typically in a group setting with other kids. So you are always in a situation for, again, being that they're kids, something to happen, something gonna happen with a bunch of kids together. So it's like it sets up to be a little more interesting, a little more exciting, and give you more of a chance to actually, you know, find someone similar to you because you're always in these settings. Because no one just sends kids to do things by themselves typically, they're almost always group things, So it's like you get put in all these settings, social settings that allow you to, again, have more enjoyment, find people you can get along with and that you can, share a common interest with. Just put in settings to be social and to basically get these interesting experiences basically because you're around all these different people. So that changes completely as an adult because now you're not put in these situations. When you're put in those situations that are like technically social situations, you're expected to still, act like an adult. You're not expected to let loose and be free and all this stuff like when you're a kid. It's like, oh, you got to be structured at school, right? But then after class or in between class, you're expected to be a kid. And outside of school, like clubs, sports, you're expected to be a kid. There's never a point in adulthood where they're like, you're not expected to be an adult right now. You're not expected to be free right now. You're not expected to be, too too enjoy yourself too much right now. You're always expected to be in control. Whereas there's literally the reason a lot of parents put kids in sports and stuff is to let them be out of control in a setting that is not their house, basically. You know, so it's like you lose that opportunity to just be free, uninhibited, you know, in a lot of different settings and basically just be yourself. Like you're almost stuck in this role constantly in these different settings. And that's kind of like just the total flip opposite of the social settings that you're put in as a kid. And that's why it feels like so abrupt too, because like, again, if you go from high school to college, it's still college is kind of high school 2.0 as far as like social stuff. It's a little more separated, disjointed, but for the most part, most people stay on campus, still got a bunch of the same interactions, still a bunch of the same foolishness and not a whole bunch different. But then when you get completely out of that setting, right, there is none of that. You are not going to be around another group of people all around your age again, that is that large. So it's like you are now thrusted into a totally unfamiliar social situation that you have pretty much no preparation for as a kid. As a kid and even as a young adult, again, through college, you don't get any preparation for that. So you're just thrust into these very, very strange social settings. And all the things that used to be okay, used to be normal, are like almost, not want to say taboo, but like they're very like looked down upon and frowned upon. So like even just like simple things. You're a kid, for example, you're a kid, especially when you're a young kid, you used to just be like, kids used to just, especially when you're really young, walk up to you, be like, hey, you trying to play? Yeah, I'm trying to play. All right, cool. We friends. Done. Deal done. Done. Lifelong friend made. It was that simple. Like, if I was to go and ask someone that now, the connotations are almost always negative. Like, oh, what's this guy want? This guy's a weirdo. This guy's a creep. He's trying to get something. He's trying to creep me, trying to kidnap me. It's all sort of craziness. It's going to go through someone's head now as an adult for you to say the exact same phrases that you said as a kid. And I just think that's crazy. Like, the relationship settings are just totally, totally, totally different, right? Like, and I'm just talking about just friendship relationships, even. Like, again, like, you used to be able to just go up to people, be nice, right? As a kid, you be nice as a kid, it's the greatest thing in the world. Your kid's so well behaved, he's so awesome, great kid. If you're nice as an adult now, it is hit or miss. It is hit or miss. Someone may actually get mad at you for being nice. I could do it myself. I didn't need your help. Blah blah. Like, all this stuff, it's very, very different. It's like all the stuff that you learn, you almost have to be even more careful about how you apply. And then, and again, my least favorite thing, which you talked about in the social media episode, is like, it seems like it's inversely related. As you get older, the less of an individual you're allowed to be. And that is 100% my least favorite thing about it, is like, again, now it's like, you can't do the things that you want to do. You can't be as free with your personality as you want to do. If you're super expressive, you're not allowed to be expressive. You got to be more solemn. You got to be more level all the time. And I'm like, again, so if a person is expressive, they're not allowed to be expressive. That's not unprofessional. Like, okay, but that's just who they are. But you're not allowed to be that. So if that's not your personality, you have to fit in with the singularity, basically, the work singularity. And that is like, again, and that end up devaluing individuality. And then we look for fresh new ideas. Well, why can't we find any? Because we don't we don't foster them, in adulthood. We shut people down and we tell them to be normal, whatever that means, and be like us. Whereas kids don't, I mean, we have weird kids, but no one really tries to change them. It's like, okay, that kid's just a little weird, whatever. Especially in our age, And it's like that part of it, like not letting people be themselves and people just not feel less comfortable being themselves as adults than kids. It's crazy. Like, you think you're getting more and more comfortable with that, but it's almost like it gets worse and worse. And it's like, again, if you try and like promote that, and it's like, okay, what's up with this guy? Why is he so, avant-garde? Why is he so, liberal with his thoughts, And I'm just like, again, this is not how things used to be. It used to be like the kids that were individuals and really stood out were the most popular. They were the most, impressive. People were the most like, even if we didn't love them, it'd be like, well, you got to respect that they're themselves. We always respected people that were themselves. Like, despite whatever else happened, maybe you didn't like it. Maybe you didn't like who themselves were. Maybe you didn't like, the person they were, but you did respect that they were themselves. And it's like, that is totally gone. That is totally gone. And it's like, now the only way people are allowed to be themselves is like, oh, go to a bar, you get drunk, which is crazy that's the only way people want to be themselves. Or, you're just totally off somewhere and it's like in your house, basically, so you can only be yourself two places, a bar and your own house. And even now, all that's like recorded, so even then it's like judgment still. So it's just like judgment from all the sides, And I think the last thing that I want to include it into like the social part of it is just like, and kind of something we also already talked about is like, at least me and Robert have definitely talked about this a lot. It's like everyone feels like they're the most important person. Everyone thinks they're the main character, in the world now. Whereas like as a kid, again, it's like we're just trying to be nice. We're trying to be cool. Like, it seems like as a kid, you're just trying to, I don't know, not ruffle any feathers, but you're just trying to like do you, be you, and be with your friends. And it's that simple, right? But now it's like everyone has to make it to where it's like, okay, I'm the most important person. So not only do you need to be there for me and do what I say and help me, but you need to be thankful that I'm letting you do that. And like that is like even crazier to me. Like that in adulthood, like it's just like we lose all the best parts of ourselves as children We keep all the bad stuff. It seems like we keep all the bad stuff socially. We keep all our social awkwardness. We keep all the uneasiness about the interactions. We keep all the short temperedness that some of us have. A lot of people do, at least, and we lose all the things that really made our childhoods great. And like that is just so frustrating for me. Like it's just so frustrating for me. Like I just really want people to be able to be like, okay, again, like as a kid, I'm just a kid.
Mhm.
I'm just a kid. But as an adult, you are now the guy, the girl, the person. And it's like, that's ludicrous to think on a planet of, millions and millions of people that you are the most important at any point in time is crazy. But most people think that. And most people live their lives keeping that close to them. And that ends up making them, unhappy, unsatisfied in their adulthoods a lot of times. And also leaving them just in general unfulfilled. But again, that's what they tell us to do, you know.
Yeah, I was just gonna wanted to say two things. One, it feels like selfishness is a benefit as an adult. Like they want you to do that, right? They're like, oh, you have to be selfish. That's the only way you get through. And I'm like, well, when you're a kid, it's not like that. It's the exact opposite, right? It's like, no. Be selfless. I mean
Right.
that's how you get that's how you make friends. That's how you do this. You gotta be selfless. And now it's like the exact opposite.
One of the
Um
first things they teach you is to share. That's one of
yeah,
the first things parents teach you.
exactly. And then wanted to talk about the other thing. I know both you and Alonzo both said, verbalized this in a little bit, saying that you feel out of place because you're put in this world where it's like, oh, find you, and then but conform, right? And it's like, oh, well, yeah, of course I feel out of place now. The only thing you put in my brain before I got to this point was, find who I am outside of the norm, right? Be who I authentically am, and then like, oh, but conform. Like that's crazy to me. I mean, Alonzo, um, you feel the same thing?
Yes, and yeah, I don't know how to verbalize this, how to say it. Um, as an adult, going through life with other people is especially hard for me. I'll say. Um, I'm not sure how to bring social media in this. I'm not a big social media guy, but there is this sort of you gotta look out for your own self. Um, like you were saying, being selfish, uh, and that's that's not a way I want to live my life. I would like to live it, being in service to others. That's what I've learned in Boy Scouts. What I've learned growing up. Um, being that nice person, being that selfless person, help other people when I can. Is how I want to get ahead in that uh, some sort of negative way. That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, do you feel like I mean, especially where you are in life, I feel uh, you have to like. Do you find it hard to be not humble? You know what I mean? Like, are there times where where like they are forcing me to be like, no, Robert, you have to present yourself like this. Hey,
Oh,
we
okay.
have bosses here. We have our higher ups. You gotta be this tier to present to
Mhm.
them, right? Like, do you find that to be difficult? Like, I find it
Yeah,
so yeah, okay.
you have to not be yourself essentially, and uh, I hate it.
Follow the
Like,
structure. Yeah, just like Matt
yeah,
said. Follow the structure. I'm like, oh god, it's awful. Mm-mm-mm.
I just hate how abrupt it is. Like it's it's like with no warning. Again, no warning. Give me the warnings. Like I wanted the warnings. Like the whole time. Share, share, share. Individuality. Be yourself, be yourself, be yourself. like, be kind, be kind, be kind. Then it's like, okay, now watch who you're kind to. They might take it the wrong way. Okay, watch where you're yourself. They might take it the wrong way. Hold on. Watch who you're not.
Mm.
It's like watch who you share with. They might take too much. It's like, tell me this earlier. Tell me this in the beginning. So I feel like LeBron. Tell me this earlier. I would have loved to know this at the beginning, so I could have already been planning and putting that in my head. Is like, okay, let me work around this idea fully instead of half the idea.
Mm.
You give me half the idea and expect me to get the full picture. No, don't do that. Anyway, I digress. I should have been much more. That was the summary of my point. I should have just said that. That is all I need to say.
You ever felt taken advantage of, being too trusting and all that? Yeah,
absolutely. And again, especially in the beginning of like young adulthood, it's like, again, I'm like, yeah, okay, this person needs this. Oh, okay, they need this. Oh, they want help with this. Okay, I can do that. No, okay, I'll just stay up a little bit later and do the other stuff I need to do. Oh, I can just, spend a little bit, less on other things I wanted, that's fine. It's like, but then it's like you find out you have to set all these boundaries, and no one ever told me still. It's like, after I share the story, I'm like, oh yeah, you got to, I'm like, well, I figured that out now. That's why I'm telling you the story. It's like, but then it's too late. And it's like, again, it's like, but again, these are people usually around my age that are telling me this, so it's not like, again, parents never, and again, not a knock to them. I don't want to say like we're knocking the parents, but again, it's like just no one in this, because plenty of other adults we ran by as kids, plenty of other adults, plenty of teachers, plenty of instructors that could have told these things too. No one ever does, Like some kids do get it. Some kids do get that. And that's awesome. But a lot of us don't. And it's like, yeah, it would have been nice to be like, okay, these are signs that someone's taking too much from you. So maybe I wouldn't have given so much to this person, whether it's emotional, whether it's financial, whether it's, physical, like acts or things like that, tell us these things. But yeah, like I said, of course, yeah, I definitely have. And I've learned from it now and I see the signs now. But back then, no warning,
Yeah, and you think that they're gonna pay it forward, right? Like,
Right.
oh, I'm giving these people this, they're going to give me something back. That's why, right? And as a child, that exists, right? There's definitely an equality there where it's like, oh,
Right.
I'm sharing this with you because I know you're gonna share this with me.
Right.
But yeah, then you get to the adults and they're just like, well, I mean, he was being a normal adult. Like, he's selfish. He just wants you to do work for free.
Right.
Like,
Right.
it's the way life is. I'm like, okay. Like, all right. It seems like we're being very negative.
We are.
Get it?
Let's flip it, man.
Fuck that shit.
Flip it, man. And I think, yeah, we have some positives too, right, Robert? We have positives.
It's really hard to think about now, right? We're all thinking about this negative stuff, but you know what? All right, here's another one that I think I'm thinking about, and it goes into kind of like the kindness thing, right? I think like those that are caring, those that are kind, shine so much brighter as an adult, right? I'm like, yeah, kindness and stuff seems like a normal thing, but it hits so much more. And this kind of goes into like, relationships in general, I feel like, but like, especially like friendships. Friendships to me are like adult friendships are so strong compared to what they were when I was young, right? Like what my child friendships were just like, it's like, hey, all right, we play games and then I go home, and now as adults, like our friendships are more like, how can I help you with my problem, with your problems, kind of thing. It's like bigger, way bigger. And that's why I feel like these kind acts, these caring people are way better as an adult. Let me know. Am I the only one feeling this?
No, I agree. I think people are looking at me funny when they're like, they're like, oh, what do you want? in a what are you looking for? And I'm like, I want them to be nice. They're like, oh, that's. I'm like, no. I want them to be nice. And everyone's like, and like, then people think about, they're like, okay, actually, reasonable. And I'm like, yes, thank you. Like, because people think that is like, again, we still, I think, even as adults, we still have the thing in our head, like, everyone's nice. That nice is a given. No. People are doing what they need to do to not look like a-holes. They're trying to not look like, they're not trying to be nice. They're just trying to not look bad. That's what they're doing. That's two totally different things. And that is very critical in a friendship. When you have a friend that is just trying to not be a terrible person, and when he's actively trying to be a good friend. And when you do have those good friends in adulthood, they are great friends. They are basically siblings, to be honest.
Right.
And that for sure is a great thing about adulthood. And I definitely think, like I said, people, we see all the time on like the news and stuff like that, where they want to, well, not all the time, but at times people have like their one shiny segment, of like a person doing something really kind. And like, it's because of how truly rare it is, as an adult, for people to do truly selfless things, truly really kind things, and then not expect a whole lot in return. And again, as kids, things we're taught to do. But, again, as adults, it just gets lost. So, yeah, but it's an awesome part when it's not lost.
You feel this too, Alonzo?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Good. So, I mean, there's not a lot to say, but, a very good positive. How about you, Alonzo? Big positive, man. Big positivity.
Oh, God, I am not a positive person. The most pessimistic person you've ever seen. At work, they call me the most depressing man alive because I talk so depressingly. But anyway,
that's terrible. Why did they tell you that?
That's why you're leaving that job, huh? Spoilers.
So I tried to research best things about adulthood and didn't come up with anything. Like my note session for best is blank right now. So I tried to think about it like in some ways, some different aspect, and I think one of the best things about adulthood is you come up with this resiliency. You become more adaptive to your surroundings. Like you can handle things better than if you were a child, where you most likely, at least me, I would most likely end up crying, not knowing what to do, be in a situation where I need to figure something out using critical thinking and I just can't do it. Being an adult, growing up, having the knowledge I've learned in school, off the streets, from other people, I've basically gathered all that knowledge, compiled it, and I can do what I need to do to get what I need done, how to interact with other people, how to work my job, how to get what I want. Like, not necessarily manipulating things to an extent where I can do whatever I want, but still to the point necessary where I get what I need, And the resiliency part is the aspect of just not getting torn apart, not getting thrown down, getting back up again. We fall down, we get up. That song. Oh God, that's a poor memory. That song was always playing. But anyway, yeah, that's how I feel about it. Just being able to adapt to new situations, get what you need, and having the toughness, I would say, to be able to handle things that come your way that may otherwise knock you down, keep you down, and just have you struggle.
That is definitely that is definitely like one thing they don't tell you, right? Because like, why would they? They're like, adulting is hard as fuck, and it sucks. You know what I mean? Like, sucks the life out of you, but also just generally, it's awful, right? And like, yeah, any amount of getting through it, right, should be praised. Yes, and I agree with that, Alonso. Resiliency, like, Yeah, because yeah. I mean, I imagine there's times where I mean, Alonso. I mean, I don't want to I don't want to give out some of your story, but like you as an adult is crazy to me. Like the things you had to go through. I mean, like living in your car for years. You know that type of thing. Resiliency there is amazing. You know what I mean? Like you're at another tier doesn't
Right.
even exist to me. But I'm like,
ESPN 30 for 30.
right? I'm like, but I'm just saying, like, you're so right. I'm amazed. I'm amazed you even as a human being are able to get through as much as you got through.
Right.
But like I in general, I do agree that like because this is the level of adult that we have to be, we're pushed to try to be this like stronger self, and that is a good thing.
Right. Yeah. Lonzo living up to the trifecta himself, man.
Right, right.
Man, living up to it, man, and surpassing it, man. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, the Lonzo love of this podcast is real. Just saying. Um, but yeah, I definitely agree. Like for sure, like boy, as a kid, I was man, I was struggling. So, again, talk to learn the things that I have, like I said, about getting mentally tough, the mindfulness, with stoicism, with my faith, with just in general, like putting things in perspective, and like, I mean, the things I've seen now, if I had seen them as a kid, it would not have been good, like. And so I think, yeah, you for sure you start to have this learned resilience for sure, and I think that is definitely a good thing, because I think, and I don't think everyone fully adapts to that, to be honest. um Obviously, we know with like the rise, like mental health issues, that's part of it, that people don't have that resilience and those sort of good coping mechanisms when things go wrong, and I think that's kind of one thing about us all being African American guys, is that we're forced to go through a tough road majority of the time, tougher than majority of other people. At its minimum, at its average, it is tougher, so and then the things that happen in life on top of that make it even harder. And I think that being able to get past those things, definitely is a point of pride for me, and I think should be a point of pride for anyone. Like, you know that's why, me personally, I celebrate everybody's everything. They got a promotion, celebrate. They graduated from something, celebrate. They got found $20 on the street, celebrate. It's worth celebrating. Like getting any pluses in life is celebrating, especially as an adult, because this is hard. It is super hard, and anything that we get, that we earn, especially, or that we work ourselves through, deserves to be celebrated, because we worked for that ish. So for sure, agree with that, and I think that is definitely a benefit, because I mean, it helps you in the long run, and then it's something that hopefully we pass down, even if we don't have kids. We always going to end up working with someone younger than us at some point in life. It's going to happen. So when we're in that situation, we can be a mentor. Hopefully, we pass those same things that we know are tools, and like things that we learned that can help, hopefully, make them feel more resilient, have more tools to cope and get past difficult situations, like we kind of wish we had probably at the beginning, that we didn't have to develop so much. But a lot of it is going to be experience, regardless whether we like it or not. So, but I think, yeah, for me, I mean, it doesn't really lead directly into what I think is the best thing, but I think I already kind of mentioned it, and that is just kind of like the freedom of more choices, and especially with the choices to make the things I least regret. Because for me as a kid, like I said, it was work. My childhood was a lot of work, and again, part of that, my parents wanted me to have a certain good possibility of a good future. And when I said I wanted to do something, they're like, "All right, well, we're gonna make you see, what it is to do that." So I said I wanted to be, in the medical field. They put me in all this medical stuff, all this summer science stuff, and it was a lot of work, a lot more work than most kids were doing, because most of my summers were filled with that, and or yard work, indoor work, whatever other stuff, like laborious things. And I mean, again, made me physically stronger, which is good for sports and stuff like that. And obviously for health in the long run. But then it did also help me to just like learn to just appreciate the downtime, and stuff like that too. But I think, like I said, I because of doing all that stuff as a kid, I didn't feel like I got to really fully enjoy childhood. And so I had a lot of regrets basically. I just had a lot of things I was like, man, I wish I could have gotten to do this. Or again, like I said, my parents were kind of like, I wouldn't say fearful, but like very hesitant to let me go and do a lot of stuff. Like I said, with like, oh, you can't go to this party, you can't go to this person's house or this person's house or this, this thing, because they were just kind of like overall worried. So I just didn't get to do a lot of stuff, like I guess sheltered, to an extent, but I wouldn't say fully sheltered, but sheltered to an extent. And so like I had a lot of regrets, stuff I didn't get to go through, stuff I didn't get to do, stuff didn't get to experience. And so like it's like and then money too. Money stuff too definitely like limited a lot of stuff we could do. So like there's a long story short, I was a point where I was basically made a really good soccer team. A travel soccer team is going to go all around like US playing all these teams. Basically my best chance at really, I really want to have any slither of a hope of going pro and like, or even going like D1 in college, I would have to get on a team like this, right? And I made the team, played my butt off, made this team. And but they told they left a message on our answering machine. I'll never forget this. They said the price. I was like, yo, I've never even heard, that much money, mentioned as a price for something. And I was like, yeah, that's dead. Right then, I was like, oh, dream dead. It's dead. Like, so, and then, that I definitely was like, dang, I definitely, as an adult, regret like not being able to do that. But I mean, nothing I could do. We physically did not have the money to do that, right? So, all that sort of stuff, I get to at least have that freedom as an adult to be like, okay, if it's something that I really, really want to do, for the most part, I can make it happen. I can make that happen. Whereas as a kid, you can want it as much as you want to do. If your parents say no, it's no, Jiggy. You at home. Like you ain't got no choice in the matter. And that age for me used to really suck. And so like being able to be like, okay, like if I really like, for example, we talk about this Japan trip, right? I'm gonna tell my parents I want to go to Japan every day for 18 years. You think I would have went to Japan? Ain't no way. Ain't a chance. But now as an adult, I can make active decisions to be like, all right, I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna put this into this, in this account for savings and all that stuff. And I'm gonna make sure that I set this time aside and I'll make this trip happen. And I can do that. But again, as a kid, you can't do that. So I do definitely like that part of it is that, there are definitely a lot of like difficulties with it, but I at least have that much of a freedom to start making more things happen for myself than I could as a kid.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. Especially, I mean, even as small as like things you want. You see something, you want that thing, and now as an adult, I can definitely just be like, I see that, I want that, I will get that. Like, ain't nobody stopping me. Especially now, it's like ain't nobody stopping me. Yeah.
I have to stop you now. I have to stop this guy now.
So I mean, I mean, I am in some way privileged there, but still, like, I mean, there's ways for you to, like, like you said, work to get things that you want. The opportunity is there. So yeah, I yeah, that's definitely a good point.
Yep, I wholeheartedly agree, especially with like what Robert brought up. Like you see it, you can buy it. Like I totally get that. Good
Imagine,
point.
imagine when you were a kid though. You see something, you're like, like, is it over $10? Well, doesn't fucking matter if I see it anyway.
I mean, I used to steal from Dollar Tree. That's how poor we were.
Yeah, I
This
mean,
man, the
this man got
come
a
up,
record.
man. The come up. They
This
need
man
a
gonna get got.
movie.
He gonna get got now. Dollar Tree will come find this man. I knew I recognized that.
I need a movie made of this man's life. Oh my
Dude,
god.
it's so
Oh
good. And
my god.
it starts off with a pan of little Alonzo, who is still taller than me right now. In the Dollar Tree. Just a poster.
Candy bar in hand, zoom in on the fist, eyes darting,
Right. Oh, I can see it now. It's so good. That's our
Man,
real Hollywood story. That's our breakthrough story right there. See, we're
right?
doing this all wrong. The podcast should have been after all of this. Should have did the movie first.
Yeah. The
Lost opportunity.
the biopic of the random engineer. Alonzo.
That's the name.
Fuck it. I'm down.
I'm an engineer. You're an engineer. We're all the engineer.
The engineer.
The engineer. I just say, I mean, it sounds good to me. I don't know, man. Oh God, I don't know. Like I said, yeah, for sure is the perks, and for sure, definitely have some ish I can look at right now. That as a kid, if I'd asked for this dumb ish that I got right now, it's not. I mean, look at some of this ish I have around here. It's just like, what the freak? I mean, I literally. What is this, dude, man? What is this? As a kid, when I asked this, mom like, boy, if you don't put that, like, ain't no way. Ain't no way I would have got that ish as a kid. No, I'm just saying, like, this is stuff. There's no way, like you said. So again, though, like it, you buy. I mean, again, you gotta have some self-control. Obviously, some people don't, which is the problem in adulthood. Some people don't have self-control. Which is another thing they should teach you. Give us money early so we can learn self-control with money.
Yeah, my budget controls me completely. Yes, I will spend, but I got hard limits. All right.
Right.
I know my limits.
Again, would be nice to learn. Just saying. I mean, we figured it out, but would be nice to be taught. High school.
Right.
Just saying, y'all can teach us. Anyway, I still think that movie though. All right. I'm being extra, but I'm only being extra because it's time for extra time, man.
Duck it now. All right, here we go again. Extra time. Let's start off with some racing news from last week. So we got Joseph Newgarden of Nashville, Tennessee, won the Indianapolis 500 last week. So congrats to him. That's one of the biggest races in America. Dutch driver Max Verstappen won the prestigious Monaco Grand Prix last week. Out in Monaco, that's one of the longest running F1 races ever. So it's a great race. Ryan Blaney of Ohio won the longest NASCAR Cup race on the schedule, which was the Coca-Cola 600 at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. So congrats to him. Let's see. The Stanley Cup Finals in hockey started tonight, and the Las Vegas Golden Knights took it to the Florida Panthers. Some NBA news. There's a black coach named Monty Williams who agreed to become the highest paid coach in NBA history after accepting a deal to coach the Detroit Pistons for 6 years and $78.5 million. Highest paid coach in history is a black man, so good for him.
Yeah, he needed to get that to coach Detroit. You better get paid that much. I ain't going there for nothing less.
Let's see. Some more John Morant news. The NBA commissioner came out with a statement saying that they discovered more information in the job and that the suspension will be handed down after the NBA finals. It's not looking good for him. The league is working with the Players Association about the penalty, and people are speculating that because of this, it's going to be a massive suspension and fine. So, moral of the story: don't play gangsta and don't play with guns.
Right.
Let's see. NBA Finals started. The Denver Nuggets crushed the Miami Heat in Game 1. So that series, I'm thinking the Denver Nuggets may just handle the Heat easily. So it may be another sweep. Who knows? We'll see. But what I wanted to talk to you guys about is, since we're on the topic of adulthood, have you all considered playing a sport as an adult? There's benefits, regular fitness routines, get to meet new people. I used to play football in high school. I probably wouldn't play it now, it'd probably destroy my knees and my body. But a coworker invited me to play pickleball the other day, and I was like, I don't know what pickleball is. That sounds like a white person's game. So, but I look into it. It doesn't seem like there's too much running. It's similar to tennis and ping pong, but it's just on a slightly bigger scale than ping pong and slightly smaller scale than tennis. But doesn't seem like it's too much running around, so it may be a sport just for me. But I want to get you guys' ideas on like what would have you considered playing sport as an adult, and would you?
My one of my coworkers said that he plays in a little get together soccer thing, and he was like, yeah, maybe if you want to come and join us at some point. I was like, fuck no. What? Like, especially, I told y'all I talked about this before, but sports people are so like competitive, which makes sense, right? I mean, you know, and if I were to try, I would be very bad. And if uh but it would take work kind of thing, and it's like, well, are you gonna hold off your competitiveness until I get okay enough to kind of be okay with that? So that's the main thing. But I mean, I love the thought of like playing just like a relaxing games of tennis. I think that's pretty good. I also, like I wouldn't be opposed to like small games of like pick up basketball or something like that. I'm not very good at any of these. But I like, what I wish? I wish they had a like a training course, for adults for these games, right? It's just like, hey, I would love to join your thing, but I don't know how to do any of it. Can you teach me that? Or is this something like it's a hobby, so you have to learn it at home by yourself, like I can't dribble without looking down a little bit, it's like can can you help me with this part of it, or am I lost cause? But yeah.
I mean, we could start your soccer boot camp if you want to.
Honestly, what was I like today when I was at the family thing, they brought up something similar, and they were like, it's like, look, oh, you can do pickup games of soccer here, and I was like, man, I would actually take Matt up on his offer if he really was like wanted to train me. But then I also know that like he'd probably also beat the shit out of me. So I don't I don't want it. I don't want damage to my body.
Goku v Gohan training, dude. That's the kind of training I do.
Going home, hit the pillow like
Oh gosh. Man, like I said, the training window is open. No, but yeah, of course, as you guys probably can tell with all these soccer jerseys I wear, that yeah, for sure, love me some soccer. So I'm not currently in a league. Um, the last time I played an actual league was in grad school before COVID, and then obviously COVID came, they canceled everything. Um, and that was it was all right. It was all right. It was pretty competitive, but it wasn't too bad. But and I had fun doing it. It was cool, But again, like, I get tired way quicker as an adult. We needed more subs. But again though, some of it just gets. Some people take it as fun, good exercise, socializing, make some new friends. Some people, some other people take it as high school 2.0. Let me get back to my glory years. And they go way too hard. Like way too hard. Like I said, last time in that league when I was back in grad school still, I mean, I had knocked the ball past this guy and I was gone. I was gone. This guy cleared me out, man. I did a full flip in the air. I was like, oh, I was like, oh shoot. Landed on my back. That is hurt like freak, dude. And the guy's like, oh, it wasn't a foul. I was like, it wasn't. I was like, I don't know what a foul is anymore. Then I was like, look, I am done. After the game, he like apologized. Like, I got heated and stuff. I'm like, yes, dude, but we aren't playing for money. We are playing for scholarships. Nothing's on the line anymore. We ain't making it, dude. It's done. Like, stop killing people out here, dude. I gotta go to work in the morning. Like, and some people don't get that. I have to go to work in the morning. That's why I don't play pickup as much as I used to. I don't play leagues as much as I used to because people don't get. I have to work in the morning. I don't have time to be injured for free. If I'm a professional athlete, I get injured and it's a part of my paycheck. I don't get that here. I get paid to go to work. So if I can't go there, I don't get paid. So it'll be affecting my bottom line. Anyway, and the last time I did actually, one of my friends invited me. Friends, not friend. Never mind. Coworker. It sounded very cold-blooded, but coworker invited me to be a part of his indoor soccer team. It's like, oh man, I heard you play soccer. Like, yeah, whatever. Okay. And I was like, nah. I was like, I don't really want to pay for one. And then for two, I'm like indoor because it messed my knees too much. I'm old. And I was like, okay. But I was like, one day they're like, oh, we're really short of people. We're gonna have to cancel the game. Can you please come and like fill in or whatever? First off, dude didn't tell me that it's still $10 to come and fill in. Should have told me that. But so I was annoyed about that. But anyway, went in, played. It was all right. It was cool. But then he also didn't tell me it was 2 games that same night. Again, I am not in soccer shape to be playing 2 games back to back like I used to as a kid. So I played the first game. I was like, okay, I feel all right. Again, that false sense of confidence you get, at the beginning. I feel like I can do some more. I used to do like 10 times this. I can do a little bit more. But that second game, pulled the hamstring, dude. 2 minutes in, hamstring gone. I was hurt, dude. I was like, yo, had to hobble off the field. You okay? It's like, nope, not okay. Not okay at all, dude. I was like, man, what the freak? Like, so it's fun, it's cool, but your body ain't what it used to. Know your limits when you get back into these sports. Know your limits, people. That's all I'm saying. Don't be like
That's definitely my fear. It's like at a young age, if you play sport and you break something, you hurt something, okay, that's part of it. You grow, you grow back. Everything's elastic, it's all right. Everything will snap back. But fucking as an adult, it's just like, well, if I break my arm, like a lot is on the line,
right?
Like a lot is going to change for a long time. So, yeah. But Alonso, I mean, if you did have to pick some sport to play as an adult, so you playing something?
Picking pickleball?
Heck no. Maybe bowling.
Oh,
Just
that's a good
go
one.
down to the lanes, throw the ball, hit the pin. Something simple,
It's simple.
We
And
should
if
do
you
that.
get good at bowling, it's impressive too. People will be really impressed by bowling.
And
impressed.
it's
Anybody can spin it.
yeah, and it's more and it's less physical, more technique, which is great, right?
Then we got like golf. We top golf.
Yeah.
Golf for the first
time. Yeah, like one of my coworkers again said that like he wanted to start like a golf thing at thing, but at work. But it was like, I don't know, the amount you have to put into it, like money and stuff, like it's a rich man sport, I was just like, I got no clubs, dude. So now I started out from zero. How much it would cost to get like a decent set of clubs and then like join these like these to like play and stuff. I'm like,
right.
I mean, Top Golf though. Go to Top Golf and that'd be great. I'd be fine with that. If anybody wants to go to Top Golf, it might maybe a thing,
Yeah. Work Top Golf. See if your job looks like they're trying to get rid of money. So that's a way to get rid of money. Work out at Top Golf.
We can't spend the government's money on Top Golf.
I mean, there's already some people spending it on golf, but I digress.
Yeah. You're right.
Anyway, this was good though. Good again. And episode 10, we've done another milestone. some good stuff going on. But
Good shit.
we'll come back with 11 at some point, maybe next week, maybe not. But we will for sure be back. But until then, thanks for procrastinating with us.